As time ran out for Scott, Drew hopped on Mark Vital's back to celebrate Baylor's 94-89 win over West Virginia to clinch Baylor's first conference title since 1950, so long ago that the Korean War had not begun. Baylor is the first non-Kansas team to win an outright Big 12 title since 2004. Coming off a 21-day COVID pause, Baylor hadn't looked like Baylor in its 2 return games. They trailed Iowa State, a winless Big 12 team, by 15 points. Kansas, a squad Baylor blitzed by 8 points in January, beat Baylor by 13 on Saturday. With 8 players contracting COVID in February, the question remained, would Baylor ever get back to what it was? That question became pressing as the best team in school history needed one win in its final 3 games to clinch the league. Down 50-43 with 12 minutes left, and then 60-55 with 8:42 remaining, Baylor had a gigantic challenge. No. 6 West Virginia had won 6 of 7 games, their lone loss was in double overtime to Oklahoma. Sean McNeil finished with 18 points and started the second half 3 of 4 from deep. Over the first 8 minutes of the second half, West Virginia scored 2.1 points per possession. Baylor would have been better off surrendering the guaranteed 2 points of a dunk than what the Mountaineers averaged by torching from beyond the arc. Facing such a monumental task, Baylor went to a lineup that carried them so many times. The Fival, with Mark Vital at the 5, lifted Baylor in those key stretches. With increased spacing, the Bears hit needed triples. Davion Mitchell swished one to make it 60-58. Unable to get many stops, Matthew Mayer ran near the sideline and flipped the ball over his shoulder to Davion Mitchell, which led to a layup. I asked Mayer about that after the game, and he said, "I just tipped it and didn't even know if one of my teammates would be there." That's how this team operates. A belief that someone else on the team will be ready to meet the moment someone else provides. That leads to Baylor's defense. The Fival works because, as Davion Mitchell told me last month, we can switch all ball screens. That means players have to beat Baylor's defenders one-on-one. Baylor didn't get many stops today. Between the pause and West Virginia shooting so well that Virginia will approach West Virginia to consider reunification, the Bears looked too decimated to contain the Mountaineers. But late in the game, the Bears were able to switch on the perimeter and prevent McNeil and others from getting shots. In one key sequence, Mark Vital stripped the ball leading to a bucket. After the game, Scott Drew found Vital to celebrate. Drew joked about the 5th-year senior, "Well, Mark's the only one who's been here longer than me." Jared Butler finished with 25 points. With 2.2 seconds left, he drove into Derek Culver and made a layup to force overtime. He said, "We ran a slip ball screen.